a very cool Billy Gibbons solo. It is from Sharp Dressed Man. This solo combines some very cool slide work and some regular fretted notes as well, as you just saw with that piece. Before we start, a couple of notes for the quibblers. First of all, obviously the original was played on electric guitar. This is the guitar I have set up for slide, Gretsch Bobtail. This is the guitar I'll be using for the lesson. Second note is that the original is in open G tuning. I am in open A. That's the same intervals, simply one whole step higher. I will explain all of that. It's not complicated. It's not going to be confusing. Open A tuning is simply raising the 4, 3, and 2 strings up a whole step. So you have E, A, C sharp. First and 6th strings are still E. The A string, 5th string is still A. Okay, you might want to stop the video for a second, tune up, or you could simply tune to open G and then put a capo on the 2nd fret. Your choice. I will explain more as we go along, but get tuned up and come back. Okay, now that you're in open tuning, either open A, which just means you've got a chord without touching the fretboard. We're going to put on a slide. I recommend a glass slide. You can use whatever you have. If you're new to slide, this is a good song to start with because it's not super complicated. He stays essentially in one position. Now the song is a very simple chord progression. The original has C, B flat, F, and G. That's it. Essentially 1, 4, and 5, C, F, and G for the solo. The solo, which is like a minute long, starts with slide, and it starts over a C chord. It hangs over the 1, the C chord, for like 30 seconds, a long time. Again, in open A, that's going to be a D chord. Whatever the case, you're going to be up here at the 5th fret, okay? Again, in open G, that would be a C chord. In open A, it's a D chord. And with your right hand, I'm going to recommend that you pinch. Using a pick with a slide, typically not good, okay? You really typically want to use your fingers. So since what he has here is the 1 chord across the 5th fret, and he's hanging on the 1 chord, he just starts off by riffing on it. Basically just riffing between the 5th fret and the 3rd fret, sliding back and forth on 5, 4, and 3. Basically just back and forth. And then he comes up to the 3, 2, 1 strings and does little licks like this. So this is pretty standard slide stuff, okay? When you're in an open tuning like G or A, you've got your root note on the 3rd string, you've got your 5th on the 1st string, and you've got your major 3rd on the 2nd string. And if you followed my other lessons, or any lessons for that matter, you'll know that a lot of blues and rock and roll comes from the tension between the minor 3rd and the major 3rd. And so with slide, that's a really common riff. So he's basically playing around with the 5th fret on 1 and 3 and going from 4 to 5 on the 2nd string. Something along those lines. Then the next lick comes up here to the 7th fret on the 1st and 2nd strings. You're going to pinch them. does that 3 times, sliding from 7 to 8. I might have misspoke a second ago. You're coming up to the 8th fret, you're sliding from 7 to 8. We're still over the 1. C chord in the key of G, C chord if you're in the open G tuning, D chord in the open A tuning. So you play that 3 times and then he comes back to that same box. So it's like, okay? Next, this is the money lick, as far as I'm concerned. This is the coolest lick in the whole solo, for the slide part anyway. Something like that, okay? So what that is okay, so 3 to 5 on the 4th string, and then 5 to 3 on the 3rd string. It's hard to play without a slide. Okay, so it's hard to play slowly as well. And then you cut off that note. You may be noticing I'm doing a lot of palm muting over here with my right hand, or I'm trying to anyway. We're getting feedback, we're getting artifacts. I apologize for that, but the idea is keep your palm on the strings that you don't want to ring out and try to drag your index finger on the strings behind the slide, whether you're playing the slide on the pinky ring or middle finger, which is of course your choice. So and then cut it off. That's that same lick. The minor third to the major third. And then you just cut it off. So the second time he ends on the 5th fret, 4th string. And then he just riffs. That was very rough, but you get the idea. Just riffing into it, and then I think he throws that little minor third to major lick before going down to the 5. That's the end of the slide portion of the solo. Okay? Then it goes up to the 4, which is again F in the key of the song. And he plays that little dissonant lick. It's extremely dissonant. It's so cool. Here at 3 and 4 on the 1st and 2nd strings. Chord progression shifts to the 1, again on the record a C, so obviously this is a C note if you're in open G or standard tuning. You're riffing off the open 3rd string with the 2nd string fretted at the 1st fret. And then you're sliding back up to that 4th fret. It's easiest to do if you use your middle finger there, so again. The second time you're going to want to use your index finger because you're going to have to riff off it with this 3rd fret 3rd string note. Pull off to open 3. And then just just lay your finger down on that 3rd fret. You can't hit a bad note in open tuning. That's the whole point, because every note there at the 3rd fret is a B flat chord again in the song key of the song. And then open. That's the resolution of the solo. Okay? Obviously that wasn't note for note, and obviously that was pretty rough. I apologize for the artifacts. Again, if I try to play slide on my electrics that aren't set up for slide, it's not pretty. To be quite honest, it's just not a pretty thing. And you might not have thought this was pretty either, but at least it showed you what you can do to play around. That's fun. Just play around with it, okay? I'm just learning slide too, so let's do it together. Learn slide, that is. And have a good time. All right, thanks for joining me.